Hello everybody, it's Pineapple here, back with another video. So today I wanted to give my post-leg ban list, Labrynth list. This isn't the best list by any account, and if you're playing online you can definitely soup it up some more, but this is like my budget list that is with things that I have. So it's composed of cards that I own, have pulled teeth from people to get my hands on. That's a metaphor, of course, I haven't literally pulled teeth to get them. But so this is just my thoughts on what I'm going to play in the upcoming format, how I intend to play, give my thoughts on the specific cards. It's nothing special. It's just what I'm playing. So first up, we have 2 copies of Lady. I've seen a lot of people play 3. Personally, I don't think you need more than 2. I think if you get to the 3rd one, you're kind of already in a bad spot, and you're going to get outgrinded anyways. So I honestly think 2 is fine. Once you get the first one out, you're kind of in control of the game. The second one is just in case they have some crazy out to it. Lady's crazy. She's awesome. 1 copy of Lovely. You still got to play it because, especially with Big Welcome, getting her out actually comes up now. She's fantastic. She's like actually good now that she's not a complete brick in your hand. And the fact that she can just loop cards just turns into an advantage engine like it's nobody's business. 2 Lord of the Heavenly Prison. I don't want to play 3 because then you see 2 in your hand, and that just feels really, really bad. I hate playing double Lord. It's just not it. More than 2 Lord. It's just not it. 3 copies of Fenrir. I love this card. It's just such a bonus interaction, and it allows you to have extra discard fodder. It's just such a powerful way to interrupt your opponents by just getting rid of something face down, as well as just recurring hand advantage for an endless conga line of dudes, and like discard fodder is unbelievable. I love Fenrir in this deck. I highly recommend that if you can get your hands on it, do it. I was lucky enough that I got it at pre-sale price for like $50 each. I know that's not feasible right now, but if you have this card, play it. Trust me, it's really good. 3 copies of Ariana. It's our Stratos. I cut Pink from the list because Pink was just an extra copy, but honest to God, she wasn't getting the job done. She just wasn't. I'm sorry. With Prosby and Extrav, you're going to see this card enough that your starters, and especially with the existence of Big Welcome, you're going to see a line to a Welcome Trap more than enough because now you're playing 9 copies. As well as Prosby and Extrav will get you there even more consistently. 1 copy of Kuklok. I see a lot of people play, Temple of the Kings, which gives you the ability to activate 1 trap card the turn it was set as a continuous spell card, and Kuklok does this on a searchable quick effect. So the surprise factor of pitching Kuklok is really good. It's also searchable in combo, so if you draw 1 of each of the welcome cards, you can summon Ariana and then grab Lady and then trigger another trap and have searched Kuklok all on your opponent's turn and then fire Kuklok. It's a really, really powerful card that's searchable. I played as a 1-of. It's mostly used to trigger D-Barrier and Eradicator when you search them. It's fantastic. We're on 3 copies of Ash Blossom. I'm only on Ash because it's the most generic hand trap and it hits everything. You can side this out for, you can play Nib, you can play whatever you want in this format. Really, I think Ash is fine though. I think it's good enough just as like an extra card to go second, because the deck doesn't have any real going second cards the way I've built it. But I'd like to have something. Probably Nib is better, honestly. I'm not totally sure, but Ash is good enough for me, in my opinion. 2 copies of Labrynth. Labrynth, it's your field spell. You don't want to get 1 copy banished by a Diabolus off the top of your deck. That would suck, so we play 2 just in case. 1 copy of Extrav, mostly as our Lord set target. And then 2 copies of Prosby, so that you can dig deep early in the game. The reason we play 1 Extrav is because in the grind game you want to be able to exert pressure and beat down with your cards, but you don't want to be losing out on hand advantage either. So the 1 Extrav is really good as your target set for Lord of the Heavenly Prison, whereas your Prosbys are really good on turn 1 to find exactly what you need, whether it's Ariana, 1 of the big welcomes, a D-Barrier, a Gozen, etc., etc. And then we have 1 copy of Triple Tasking or Thrust. I pulled this at a sneak peek, so I'm playing it. It's fantastic. Your opponent hand traps you, and you just get to set whatever back row you want. Going second, you can grab evenly. I highly recommend you play it in this deck specifically. It's one of the only decks I feel that can reliably main deck it. which is what I think is fantastic about it. So I would highly recommend, if you can get more copies, to get copies of this card. We then have 3 copies of Welcome Labrynth. When you combine it with your field spell, it's a pop and a summon. It's fantastic. Mostly though, this is worse, just straight up worse than Big Welcome, as Big Welcome has a grave effect, which can trigger Lady. The important thing is they both search Lady, although this one is more often than not going to be grabbing Lady, whereas Big Welcome will probably be grabbing Lovely when you have another card on field and then returning said other monster to the hand in order to trigger your Lovely. 2 copies of Compulse. It's non-destruction removal. It's fantastic for getting rid of extra deck monsters. Yeah, it's compulsory evacuation device. I don't know what to say. It's Compulse. It's fantastic. It's targeted removal. It's not as big as I'd like it to be, but it gets the job done. Punishment. Send really good cards. Dump Entis, Dump Omega, Dump Wind Pegasus. Pitch the new Tri Brigade card to draw off of Garura. It's punishment. You don't care about your extra. It's punishment. It's fantastic. I don't know what to say. You know what this card does. IDP. It's IDP again. It kind of conflicts with Gozen, but at the same time, like, a lot of good stuff is dark, so does it really matter? Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's IDP. It's fantastic. It's great removal. It prevents reborn cards. It's IDP. We then have 2 copies of D-Barrier. Since it's searchable, and a lingering floodgate that you literally can't respond to unless you have judgment, there's no way to play around D-Barrier anymore. Reboot is gone. This card is just gets to run wild. I can't believe it's a real card. Moving forward, we have Big Welcome Labrynth. So if you're unfamiliar, this is the new card that we got. It has you special summon a Labrynth from your hand, deck, or grave, which does make you more susceptible to hand traps because you can lose to Bell as well. But then you return 1 monster you control to hand. So essentially, if you have Ariana out, you can summon Lovely, and then you can return Ariana to hand, and then in order to trigger Lovely. It's a really powerful card that enables a lot more things once you have your engine going. Additionally, when it's in the grave, you can banish it from your grave and then target a fiend you control, or if you control level 8 or higher fiend, you can target a card your opponent controls and return it to the hand, and you can only use 1 effect per turn. So it's a really useful card because you can set it off of Lovely or Lady if you get, so if they flip or use Harpy's Feather Duster, you can chain Lady, set this, and then you still have a bounce, and you get to keep kind of doing things. It's not great, but it is a very good target for Lady, since if it gets popped by Duster, you have something to keep playing. 1 EEV. This card's fantastic in this deck because you have a bunch of dark monsters with more than 2,500 attack, and you just get to call spells. You can call traps. You just get to get rid of things. They go end of main. You go, oh cool, you're gonna evenly me. I'm gonna flip Eradicator. Call trap. Eradicator's super toxic and it's super good. I really don't know what to say. It's Eradicator. Now, moving on down the line, we have 2 copies of Dinomishus. Being able to just banish a card at the cost of a discard, especially when Fenrir is generating you advantage every turn, is super, super, super awesome. Dinomishus is great. It provides you with the ability to remove things in a non-destruction way. Again, that's the name of the game, non-destruction removal. Non-destruction targeting removal in IDP, non-destruction removal in Compulse, etc., etc. We then have 2 copies of Gozen Match, with the Kashtira's being all different attributes. You want to be playing Gozen, it shuts them down, it locks it down. You're only playing darks, you only care about darks. It conflicts with the IDP, but that's a sacrifice we're willing to make. In the side, we have 1 copy of Tech Devastation Virus. This gets sided in the event that you're playing against Sprite, or some small strategy like Fluanderies, if someone still dares to play that abomination. We then have 2 copies of Lava Golem. It's Lava Golem. It's fantastic. It breaks apart boards like it's nobody's business. 3 copies of Judgment for going first. 3 copies of Evenly Matched for going second. And then we have End the Band Played On. I feel like End the Band Played On is going to be pretty good with Kashtira because they're all 7s, except Arisart. But, you can shut it down. Like, flipping End the Band Played On, I feel like is going to be a solid tech card. I think it's going to be pretty good. We then have Book of Lunar Eclipse. Again, we're checking for Kashtira specifically because it's probably going to be the best deck. I feel like Book of Lunar Eclipse is a solid enough option to turn off a Rise Heart. We don't like playing under macro permanently. We can play under Shifter. It sucks, but we can do it. It hurts our advantage loop, but we can stomach it. Whereas a permanent macro is just not going to do it, so we got to book that shit real fast. We then have Wind Pegasus at Ignister. Again, it's a punishment target. So if another card you control is destroyed by battle or a card effect while it's in the grave, you can banish it and then target a card your opponent controls shuffle into the deck. It doesn't come up that much, but it's solid enough. We then have Omega. Omega, mostly for its standby effect to put things that are banished back in the graveyard. Like, I don't know, a Big Welcome, a Dinomicious, something that gets banished. It's just, unfortunately, Omega comes up a decent bit. He's a very solid punishment target. We have Garura as our target for Buchafos II. I have no idea how you pronounce this new Tri-Brigade name. But mostly to draw off of our punishment. We want to keep up that hand advantage. 2 copies of Entis. Again, targets for punishment. 1 Abyss Dweller in case anyone is brave enough to play Tier. 1 Baguska because it's Baguska and we can play 4s. 1 copy of Marksman Kingtel, Wave King Caesar, and Deus Machinix. This makes for an incredible package, as any 2 4s will get you to this, which can immediately rank up into Marksman Kingtel, and then rank up again into Deus Machinix. And it gets 3 detaches to suck up 3 monster effects, or you can just make a fucking huge Zeus. Either are valid options. We are also on Dinkirsu, because the big girls are 8s, and subsequently sometimes you need non-targeting sends to get rid of things, because IDP doesn't work sometimes. We're on 1 copy of Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Again, sometimes Dinkirsu isn't enough. It's to out things like Crooked Cook. We spam the board enough that Goddess can get us there, especially since she's a fiend, and subsequently we can play it under Welcome and Big Welcome. It's good enough. Muckraker is fantastic, especially when you need to just link things off, clear your board, pitch a guy, like Reborn stuff. Muckraker's great, highly recommend, 10 out of 10 card. Tri-Brigade Arms Bucephalus, again, someone in the comments can tell me I'm a dipshit for not knowing how to pronounce this card's name, but again, its only purpose is to be a punishment target for our big guy, who can then send Garura to draw a card. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any suggestions for me, I'm more than open to ears. Again, this is just what my initial thoughts are going into the upcoming format. This is what I'm going to play, not because it's correct, but because it's what I can afford, and I feel like Lab, while it definitely is an expensive deck and not one that I would recommend for you as a budget player, simply because you have to pay the waifu tax, although it's a very fun deck. Most Big Welcome and Welcome are both like 25 a pop, I want to say. Ladies, 15 or whatever. Lovely's $10. Ariana's 15. This deck is stupid expensive. But this is what I'm going to be playing. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.